We talk a lot about media bias. Media Research Center, they're amazing. They examined PBS's NewsHour during the week from June 1, 2023 through November 30th, 2024. Guess what they found? PBS used variations of the label far right versus the label far left by a ratio of 27 to 1. PBS staff used the term right wing versus left wing at a disparity of 33 to 6. So overall, far right, right wing, far left, left wing, 195 to 12. And even this 27 to 1 ratio understates the full extent of the bias. For example, the word right was often targeted at specific people or groups and conveyed, as the Media Research Center phrases it, a sense of menace. The word left were often quotes from Republican campaign trail or soft descriptions that lack the kind of warning connotation of the right labels. PBS reporters use the term far right versus far left 64 to 2. Just an example. NewsHour co-anchor Amna Nawaz on June 2nd, 2023 was talking about the drawn-out House GOP leadership fight. Quote, there were a lot of questions about how Speaker McCarthy would be able to handle the far-right members of its conference in particular. PBS reporter Laura Barron-Lopez, September 12, 2023. And far-right Republicans have threatened a showdown, blah, 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 blah. Apparently, the term far-left is AWOL. And then there's hard right versus hard left. Hard right versus hard left, ratio 16 to 1. So I guess people like AOC, Maxine Waters, Jamie Raskin, they're just AOC, Maxine Waters, and Jamie Raskin. And don't get me started on extreme right versus extreme left, a ratio of 57 to 3. And check this out. The term hard line versus hard left. In 2000, so that's 24 years ago, I published my first book, The 10 Things You Can't Say in America, and I had a chapter on media bias. And I talked about how I did a Nexus Lexis search, LA Times, to find out how often they use the term staunch conservative versus staunch liberal. They use the term staunch conservative over a period of time a boatload of times, staunch liberal twice. And one time the word staunch was in one part of the paragraph and liberal in another part of the paragraph. But just back-to-back staunch liberal, almost not at all. This study of PBS, again, this is the weekday show called PBS NewsHour from June 1st, 2023 to November 30th, 2024. They use the term hard line 25 times during the study period. Hard line right 25 times. How many times do they use the term hard line left, you ask? 0. Not one. Now the country is roughly third Democrat, a third Republican, and a third independents, although independents now I think are somewhat larger than either party. So you would think there might be as many hard line left people as there are hard line right people, not according to PBS. Reporters use the term right wing over the period of time 33 times. Reporters, PBS, use the term left wing over this period 6 times. Now, if you argue that the media does have an influence on how people see things, how people think, how people reason, and therefore how people vote, here's your case in point. This is how overwhelmingly left-wing our media are. And that's just PBS. A study done found out 3% of reporters covering politics, 3%, describe themselves as Republicans. 97% call themselves something other than Republicans. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And this is why the owner of the LA Times, after the Trump victory, realized how dramatically out of touch his newspaper is with the country and also with California. Again, the LA Times opposed Proposition 36. Proposition 36 essentially gutted Proposition 47 that allowed you to steal without any consequences, allowed you to do meth on the street without any consequences. So they made a whole bunch of categories of crime felonies instead of misdemeanors. And in California, we have cashless bail, so if you are charged with a misdemeanor, there's a 0% chance you are going to go to jail. So Proposition 36 was to undo the damage done by Proposition 47, which would not have been passed but for the way it was described by the then Attorney General, whose name happened to be Kamala Harris. LA Times opposed it. It passed by 40 points. California has 58 counties. It passed in every single county, even though the LA Times opposed it and Gavin Newsom opposed it. So this is how out of step LA Times, Washington Post, New York Times, and virtually every major newspaper in the country is with the American people.